We're talking about the old guy who appears in They Might Be Giants videos and on the wiki.
Yeah.
Who is that guy? We want to know.
If anybody knows out there.
I'm sure it's on the wiki somewhere, right?
I don't know.
It doesn't necessarily matter. The other thing is, I was trying to pull up the lyrics for Rabid Child, and I put Rapid Child. Or pulling up all this.
That's a much different song.
You just can't stop running. Actually, the Rapid Child should be in Toddler Highway.
Right.
Toddler, Rabid Child stays at home.
What are you doing later today?
I'm going suit shopping.
Interesting. For
suits.
Currently think I don't have a suit.
Yeah.
I have elements that I could cobble together if someone asked me to look nice at something.
That's what I've been doing, but I'd like to have just like an actual suit I can put on.
Well, why don't you start the episode,
right.
man?
Welcome back. It's time to go inside the birdhouse with Lewis and Sean. I'm Sean.
I'm Lewis.
This is a retrospective podcast of the music of They Might Be Giants on a track-by-track basis. We're plowing through the first album, and we've gotten to a special episode because today is a twofer.
It's a twofer because each song together is under 2 minutes.
The first song, Toddler Highway, which is the shortest track at, I think, 25 seconds.
I think it's 27 seconds. And on top of that, is it the shortest They Might Be Giants song? No, there must be some weird interstitial somewhere that's only like 5 seconds long, I'm sure.
If you go by actual track length, in Apollo 18, Fingertips is actually broken up into 21 separate tracks.
Technicality, man.
And a lot of those are under 10 seconds.
So when we're giving the award for shortest song,
yeah.
Highway,
it'll be in the running.
It can pop up and say, no, it's a technicality.
Right, exactly.
The song was broken into
yeah, exactly.
tracks.
That doesn't count.
Cool. And then the next song is
Rabid Child, which is an interesting song because it kind of starts the They Might Be Giants music universe. It names off characters that will appear in other songs, and in fact the Rabid Child will get referenced in other songs later on as well,
because I don't think that was the intention when they wrote this song, that it would start a universe.
Right.
I think it was. Let's start with Toddler Highway.
So starting with Toddler Highway, like we said, the shortest track on the album.
It still has those mountain harmonies, the kind of harmonies that are in
number 3,
and then the kind of mountainy things that are in Hideaway Folk Family.
A couple interesting things about this song. It is a cappella, which I think they don't do very often, but on occasion they'll do a cappella songs. It was the first song ever played on their Dial-A-Song.
When did they start Dial-A-Song? Did they start it before that first album?
I think so, yeah. I think it started in like 84, something like that. So before the album came out. It's kind of interesting that this would be the song they would choose. You know, that's the kind of weirdos that they are. It sounds like this was a true story of a Massachusetts Toys R Us.
Toys R Us parking lot?
Yeah, that the manager used to open up for kids to ride bikes in.
It's a great idea. Their parents bring them to this thing to just kind of like blow off steam, and then they're right there at the Toys R Us.
Right. Toys R Us was such a ubiquitous thing back when we were kids. But I didn't grow up near one. We didn't have a Toys R Us in the desert when I was growing up.
I moved around so much, but I know there was always a Toys R Us within hopping distance.
When you were a kid, it was like, oh my God, there's a toy store that big out there in the world. And all I had were little tiny toy store. There was like a little one inside the mall near my house. And it wasn't even like, it was like a fake KB store.
Yeah, I remember those like small toy stores in malls. Yeah.
You know, it was always one of my wishes to someday get to a Toys R Us when I was a kid.
Right. I think there was a Toy City near where I kind of went to middle school. Like my parents finally stayed in one place for like a couple years in the last couple years of middle school into high school. So I was able to kind of go, oh, good. Oh, my God. I could pretend like I'm having a regular, normal suburban life. But at the bottom of the hill was this Toy City, I think. I think it was called Toy City. I'll ask Dan because it was Dan and I that would always go there, right? And
Sure.
G.I. Joe figures and Star Wars figures and all the stuff that came out. What I thought was interesting about this song is that it's, in all the other songs, we're diving into them and discovering new meanings. And we have even made bold statements on this podcast about like, yeah, their songs are always so deep. And this one, I think they're just talking about exactly what this was, which was a parking lot in Massachusetts.
Early on, the songs have kind of been, but they write songs that are just explicitly what they're stating. They're not always 10 layers deep.
But you're right. They did do the kind of a cappella thing. And I'm curious why. I mean, you don't have to have a reason to do something musically. You just kind of go, oh, that sounds cool. Like, I mean, how many times in Jacaranda did we just kind of go,
Exactly. And also find it funny that the only time they'll try doing a cappella is with a song that's only 30 seconds long. I don't think they trust their vocal stylings enough to really go hard into a cappella stuff.
Sounds solid though. Their harmony sounds solid, and that beatbox, doo 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 doo. Yeah, I don't even know where to start on this one. In the morning sun around 7 o'clock. I'm assuming this means it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
You think?
The parking lot fills around Toys R Us.
There you go.
The parking lot's there.
Yeah.
All these kids are coming. And my little girl, she will get away, ride her bike down Toddler highway. So I'm wondering whether this is my little girl will get away, meaning she's not cramped in the area she is. This is kind of her getting away.
Right.
Or is she making a break for it? Did he bring her to Toddler Highway and she's just like,
I'm out of here.
Nope. I'm out of here. Going somewhere. Ride her bike down Toddler Highway. That's all I was thinking. Like,
Right. What I do find interesting is how they spell highway. Is that an East Coast thing, or do they just misspell it on purpose?
I've seen highway written H''WAY.
Sure.
A lot. And then take your clothes and play. I'm assuming that's like a playpen or something, right?
Yeah, something or some kind of like.
I feel like this is one we have to look up in real time. Clothes and play. Oh, it's a photograph. A Close and Play is an early record player for kids.
Huh.
Kenner product.
Well, I wonder if that's like they would play music.
Yeah, they would play music. Oh, yeah. That's so much better.
Yeah.
Take your clothes and play Toddler Highway. Rock on.
That's it.
Girl blasted music. I'm assuming that the little girl did not make a break for it. This is Toddler Highway.
I think it's just, like you said, I don't think there's anything deeper than the words right there.
But I want her to make a break for it.
Right. There's not a lot of interpretations on the They Might Be wiki.
That is hilarious. I feel like people would jump at the opportunity.
But there are some. And my favorite one is about your daughter going to college.
I don't need to unpack that. They probably didn't have kids at this point, right?
I don't think so.
I think they were born in 65, right?
Well, they were born in 60, right? Aren't they?
I'm sorry, 60.
Aren't
60.
Like,
that's right.
So they're around 25.
So they're around 25 here, right?
Yeah, I don't think they have kids until their 30s at least.
They're writing this from the perspective of a father. And maybe they're seeing this thing happen and they're like, God, when I'm a dad, I so want to do this with my kid. Honestly, I do. When I finally listened to this song, and I've never given this song attention.
Sure.
Never.
No, why would you? It's just a little blip in the middle of the album.
A palate cleanser for what the album is about to become.
I put Hideaway Folk Family in there, but there's this 4-track. They're all Flansburgh songs, and they're all very different from the rest of the album. This, 32 Footsteps, Hideaway Folk Family, and then obviously Rabid Child as well. And then they get back into the more poppy kind of self-reflexive stuff again.
Yeah, but then they have a boat of car coming, which isn't poppy.
No. I mean, they still have some weird stuff coming.
I just love the idea that they write songs that are 27 seconds and put them on Dial-A-Song. I feel like this leading that off is so appropriate. It's sort of the nature of what that is.
So apparently he also says that this is loosely based on a Bruce Springsteen, initially based on an imitation of Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, interesting. Who said that?
John Flansburgh, yeah.
I believe of the two of them, Flansburgh gives off stronger dad vibes.
I'm not sure that he has kids. Like, I know John Linnell has a son because they talk about him in the documentary.
My friend Stephen Cowcoat, he's like great with kids. He's like this very huge avuncular presence, but he doesn't have kids. And of course, I feel like I don't really give off dad vibes.
Right.
But when you see me with my daughter, you're like, oh, that's her dad.
Yeah. I give off dad vibes when I'm with my kids, but I have no desire to be anybody else's dad. Like there's some parents out there that will go and play with other kids. Not me. Never been my thing.
I am a father to my daughter because I love her and want her to succeed. But yeah, outside of that, I don't really like kids.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I like her friends coming over and playing with her because it gives me a reprieve for about 2 hours, right? But that's happens far less frequently than I would like, actually.
Yeah, these days.
These days, like, kind of wish you had more play dates. Anyway, back to this song. I don't know what else to say about
it. Not much. That's why we're doing 2 songs this episode.
Yeah. I kind of want to talk about the harmonies, but I think we've hit that too. Yeah. I mean, there are these kind of like very tight harmonies. Again, a very folky feel, which is a Flansburgh element, I feel. Even if not every song he writes has kind of a folkiness to it. There is definitely a folky.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I got to imagine he writes every one of his songs playing guitar. And I think when you do that, you're just kind of generally going to lend itself to being more of a folky sound just by nature.
Right.
If you're sitting there with an acoustic guitar, like that's what it's going to sound like.
If you play keyboard and an accordion, every song you write is going to be an extremely syncopated song.
Exactly. So
cool.
So that was Toddler Highway. And now next up, we've got Rabid Child, another Flansburgh song.
So I'm looking at the lyrics now and I see, Lord, please don't take me away. And I can't remember. I listened to this song many times.
Oh, it's right off the top.
And the sound of this song has a strange sense of nostalgia. Like he's echoing a style like in Hideaway Folk Family, in a way like number 3, and even in Toddler Highway. Like Flansburgh just likes to remix styles.
Right.
Where I feel like Linnell is kind of his own sound.
His songs tend to be the more verse, chorus.
Linnell's.
Bridge, like standard kind of stuff. All it is a keyboard and a drum machine. That's all the instrumentation.
Of all their songs, they really embraced the sound of synth and drum machine.
Oh,
here, right?
Absolutely.
It's like they didn't even try to disguise it. They really like Casio toned this song more than anything else.
They have no problem making you know that everything's being played on electrical machines.
This literally, it does sound like a Casio tone.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't even write anything original. It was just like a programmed beat.
So this has a unreleased video. And you probably find it now.
Well, I have it up here on YouTube, obviously. Oh, yeah, and they do the whole masks. It's not that old guy, but it's the same kind of idea, that printing out an oversized face and putting it on your head. Dude, they are so avant-garde art.
You know that they were hip as hell in the Brooklyn music scene. They had the weird thing where they didn't have a rhythm section. The entire rhythm section was played on a tape. Right there, it's almost an art show as much as it is a concert.
This is Flansburgh going, let's get funky, let's get weird.
But I also feel like Linnell is totally down for that stuff. On the wiki, it says this song is likely thematically inspired by Teddy Bear, a 1976 song by country musician Red Sovine. It's about a paraplegic boy who would talk to truckers on a CB.
Yeah, Lord, please don't take me away is like, I don't want to die.
Right. I mean, I think you get that this song is about a sick child who has to stay home, and their only connection to the world is the CB where she talks to truckers.
Truckers pass calling out their handles to the kid. Chespi's Face, again, I didn't realize. Oh, wait a second. The song Chespi's Face is not on this album.
It is on this album.
It is on this album.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And Big Duluth.
Yes.
So these are These are truckers out there.
Trucker handles.
I want to know, and I believe Chesapeake's Face is probably a real handle, so I want to know why they call this guy Chesapeake's Face. What is it about his face? You've created a Chesapeake's Face in your musical, but he literally has chess pieces sticking out of his head.
I think the Chesapeake's Face idea is that his face looks like the face of the king or the queen on a chessboard. You've got the classic Grecian nose, beard.
And then the big Duluth, I'm only assuming it's Duluth, Minnesota.
Somewhere, yeah, you would assume that that's where that trucker was from.
And he's large and from Duluth.
It says they call her every day. So they must be, they're truckers who stay in a fairly short area, right? Because I don't know how far CB radios can really pull.
An 8-hour run isn't unusual, and maybe they just have one that goes back and forth.
Right.
So they pass her twice a day, right?
Yep.
Hammer Down, which is CB talk for putting gas on. Rabbit ears is weird. I looked it up, and it's kind of an ambiguous term, but mainly it's listening.
It's a reference to like an antenna, right? Or are they actually speaking about rabbit ears are better for listening?
The people listening in are often called rabbit ears, especially if they're not talking. If they're just listening in to CB chatter, I think they're referred to as rabbit ears.
Oh, interesting.
But someone else mentioned a lot of semi-trucks have two very large antennas.
For their radio.
Are the only words they know. CB communication is famous for having a whole vocabulary.
Yeah.
Why are these the only terms they know? Maybe I'm taking that lyric a little too literally.
Well, it's interesting. We didn't really talk about it. Truckers pass calling out their handles to the kid. So there are more. She talks to more truckers. But somehow Chesapeake's Face and the Big Duluth are ones that she hears all the time. So they're kind of local drivers. And is this referring to only Chesapeake's Face and the Big Duluth? That their Hammer Down and Rabbit Ears are the only words they know?
I think it's more of a symbol for the fact that they only know CB speak. I mean, they're as lonely as she is. This is what they do. And they call her every day. And they think. Now, again, it's either very sweet, like they call her every day. Maybe they know she's her, or they're aware she's a kid and they're creepy old men. Are they sweet, kind of like benevolent angels, or are they child molesters, right?
I think we got to view this from the 80s in which it was written, in which time you would think of it more as these are guys who are being nice to a girl who's a sick girl who is stuck in her room.
The only reason I say, like, is it more of a creepy thing is because John Flansburgh is not alien to creepy stuff.
That is true. We talked about Hideaway Folk Family and how
he himself, I don't think is a creep. I think that he indulges the dark side of human nature. But I mean, I do feel like it's probably just they say hi, they're nice.
Right.
Hammer down, rabbit ears, hammer down, rabbit ears, hammer down, rabbit ears, hammer down.
Yeah.
Right. Then this last line here before we hear the rabid child repeated again and again and again is, if you pass the rabid child, say hammer down for me. So who's now me? We get the kid, we have Chesapeake's Face and the Big Duluth and even other truckers. There are characters in this. So who's the me?
This song is a third person that's viewing this or knows about this story, because it talks about everyone in the third person. The rabid child is not the point of view of the song, right? It's not from her point of view. So is this a parent of the rabid child?
Well, I was also thinking maybe the rabid child dies. Maybe going up to heaven and it's like, it's a tribute.
I was thinking of it more of that would be a wishing her a speedy recovery.
Hammer down, speedy recovery. That's a lot nicer than mine.
Either one is probably reasonable. Both are a positive thing, right? Speed your way onto heaven or speed your way into recovery. Either way, Now, why
the rabid child? Obviously, I feel it's a joke of some kind, right? She's not actually rabid.
That could be the affliction that keeps her indoors.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
Is rabid.
Toddler Highway was literal, so why can't this? Or rabid is being used to describe just kind of any sickness, right? It's like they don't know what the sickness is, so they go, oh yeah, that's the rabid child.
Reading some of the interpretations, some people talking like it's a feral child, some child that was found in the woods.
That doesn't seem to align with the rest of the text. Like, she's obviously on a CB radio.
Yeah.
She's obviously stuck somewhere, yeah.
So let me interpret that's her handle.
Oh, Rabid Child is her handle. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably your best interpretation.
At the end, they say the Rabid Child, the Rabid Child, the Rabid Child. At the beginning, it just is Rabid Child.
Right, they don't use the...
Rabid Child stays at home,
right.
Talks on the
Right, it's not, yeah, you're right.
Doesn't say the Rabid Child.
Yep. It is interesting that they start with this weird, Lord, please don't take me away. With that on top of the song, I think it's kind of more your interpretation of the end. The child passing, the story of this child who got sick, was in her room talking to her only real connection to the outside world was through this CB. And she became friends with all these truckers, but then she passed away. And so the parent went on told all the truckers that stopped hammer down for the Rabid Child.
That is beautiful. I mean, it's sad, but it's beautiful. Can I offer another interpretation?
Of course.
At the risk of becoming one of the more eccentric individuals on the interpretations page of This Might Be a Wiki, it's one of the truckers that's been in an accident. And he's saying at the beginning, Lord, please don't take me away. And as he's dying, he's thinking of the Rabid Child, talks at home, truckers passing, calling out the kid, chest piece face, and Big Delu call her every day. Hammer down and rabbit ears are the only words they know. And then he says, if you pass the Rabid Child, say hammer down for me, because he's going to die. And so he's thinking of this kid as he's himself dying. And that's what the Lord, please don't take me away is more. The trucker got into a big accident. I mean, it's a take. I don't know if it's the take I most enjoy.
There's all sorts of themes within this little tiny ditty, you can talk about the loneliness that the child feels, and you can talk about the isolation of American life in general. Like, where have we gotten to at this point in time with isolation in our day-to-day lives? Back then, it was talking on a CB. Now, everything is on your phone.
There's kind of a melancholy beauty about getting on a CB radio and just casting it into the abyss. And whatever you heard kind of coming back, where nowadays it's like, I mean, we're on the computer right now.
Yeah,
having a
exactly
total conversation and recording it and turning it into a near professionally produced podcast.
Right, exactly.
It kind of lacks that melancholy beauty just being on a CB radio.
Sure. The CB radio had a freedom to it because you didn't need to know anybody's phone number to contact them. You just had to go on a specific channel, and there would be people on that channel that was a way to meet strangers without having to interact with them in a physical space.
It's not even their loneliness the song is about. It's the concept.
Right.
Which I really love.
Well, that I think is one of the things that they do well. It's not always about a specific person's loneliness or a specific person's melancholy. They do have a way of talking about these things in a more amorphous way. The concept of loneliness and the concept of melancholy and the concept of all sorts of emotional feeling. They have a pretty good way of doing that.
You said it, I think, in the first episode, and maybe you've mentioned it before, but they also have a way of getting at a much larger theme while describing something that is relatively mundane. In Toddler Highway, the joyful insouciance of parenthood.
Or the joyful freedom of childhood. The joy that I could find just by going and riding a bike around the parking lot. But I call it Toddler Highway, and all of a sudden it's this cool racetrack that I'm on. But we're not talking about these things in a grandiose way. We're talking about it in a very specific, banal situation of a kid just being taken by his parents or his parent or her parent, to ride her bike in a parking lot.
And then Rabid Child, themes of loneliness, melancholy.
Even death. Back in the 80s, it was a little more popular to talk on a CB. These days, you wouldn't see it happening much. But I remember my grandfather had a CB tracker that you couldn't talk, but you could listen to radio.
Yeah, you were rabbit ears.
Yeah, I was a rabbit ears, exactly.
It's not like the song even lets us in on this CB argot or anything like that. It is keeping us as a listener still very removed from it. Hammer down rabbit ears. We just hear hammer down rabbit ears. Like, we can't even understand what they might be talking about. All we know is that somehow when they pass, they say something and there's a connection for a moment and then they go away. The end, though. The Rabid Child. It sounds so croonery. What is going on there? Again, this is another song like Toddler Highway that I never really gave any attention to. And so when it got to the crooner bit, I just thought it was weird. Oh yeah, a crooner singing about a rabbit child. Ha ha ha. Now I'm like, wow, what is that?
You know, is it like, if we talk about it from the standpoint of death, is it like the funeral dirt of a choir singing? Because it's got that, you know, it's got this very, like you say, croonery is, I think, because it's coming from a single voice, opposed to the rest of the song, which is almost sort of, kind of spoken almost. There's very little melody in the singing of the song until he starts going, the rabbit child, the rabbit child, the rabbit child.
Yeah, and also, you know, I realized the one verse that's there, the rabbit child stays at home, talks on TV, etc., none of the lines rhyme. Rabbit child stays at home, talks on a CB, truckers pass calling out their handles to the kid. Chesapeake's face and the big Duluth caller every day, hammered down on rabbit ears are the only words I know. It's not lyrical.
It's more prose than it is verse. Until he starts singing the rabbit child at the end, most of the song is spoken, you know, because then the hammer down, rabbit ears, hammer down, that's spoken. He kind of gives a little bit of musical lilt to his song when he's singing the first part, but it's still very rabbit child stays at home, talks on a CD, and then you have the kind of weird boom, 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 and there it goes. But yeah, it's interesting that they do kind of crooner it out there at the end.
I like as a departure, and it's not, I mean, again, it's not like we have to necessarily come up with a profound reason for it. I mean, I can easily imagine, and probably John would tell us this if we could talk to them, going, well, yeah, I don't know, screwing around with the microphone.
It sounded cool. Yeah, it sounds cool when I do that.
As we've said with other things, like things could start as a, you know, just screwing around, but then turn into something, right? Jacaranda, remember when Tom was singing Sex in the Duplex? And then suddenly we created this entire world.
Right. Back when Jacaranda wrote songs based on two words that rhymed. Sex in the Duplex, Chained to the Tang.
We were sophisticated. Well, what do we have to look forward to?
Next week, we've got Nothing's Gonna Change My Clothes.
Oh, I love that song.
Which puts us at we're just about halfway through the album at this point.
Not even. Because that's 9, and there are 19 songs.
So the next song, so we're almost
the Hotel
halfway.
Detective will put us halfway.
Yeah. But Nothing's Gonna Change My Clothes. That's a great Linnell song, you know, so we're getting back into probably more self-reflexive poppy music.
Right. The theme we're trying to lay down here is that Flansburgh is kind of weird and loves reflecting on the world around him. Linnell is kind of weird, but likes
to reflect
self-reflecting in a basement.
Yep. I think so far that would be the thesis statement of the podcast.
We're 8 episodes in. How are you feeling about the podcast?
I'm very happy with it. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. We'll see whether or not that translates into people liking it.
I produced 2 podcasts, and I say the same thing about both of them. If you actually try to have a conversation with somebody about one thing and deep dive on it, it won't happen because there are all these distractions around you and life, and then you sit down and it's like, you know, let's talk about something else or something like that. But if you have a podcast, you will do it. So in a way, just doing it, we've already won.
Right,
we don't need people to listen to it at that point. We've already done it.
I have done a podcast before. We did it for a very long time. In all of that time, I think we amassed 1 fan. But we had a fan. If anybody listens to it and enjoys it, I'm happy. We can get past 10 episodes. We'll have beaten most podcasts. I think it's like 80% podcasts don't make it past the 10th episode.
It's because it's a lot of work.
True.
I mean, I still haven't edited many of them, right? We've recorded 8.
Right.
I've only edited 1, right? I have the others like set up.
Sure. So next week, Nothing's Gonna Change My Clothes. Until then, this has been Inside the Birdhouse with Lewis and Sean. I'm Sean.
I'm Lewis.
So good night.
Good night, guys.